It takes one thing, and that is votes. We need your votes. Election day is happening right now today.
Let's make sure that we get after it, get out there, cast our ballot, bring our friends and family members with us, and spread the word to everyone we know. Let's go out there and win this thing.
Time is running out to get to the polls. Most places closing at 7 tonight, but locations in Bell County are being allowed to stay open a little bit later. More on that in a bit.
And remember, if you're in line at 6:59, they will allow you to complete your ballot and your vote. Most polls are open until 7, with Bell County extending till 8. And again, if you're in line, they cannot turn you away.
Waco Transit still providing free bus rides to the polls if you have a valid voter registration card or an I voted sticker.
The Killeen chapter of NAACP is also offering rides to the polls. You can call or text the number listed at the bottom of your screen for transportation to vote. Bell County polls again open until 8 o'clock tonight.
Here's a look at some of the polling locations in the area. In McLennan County, there's the Waco Multipurpose Community Center, the Heart of Texas Council of Governments, the MCC Conference Center, the Dewey Community Center, and the Axtell School Athletic Meeting Room.
Just under 60 minutes and counting. The time is running out if you still want to have your vote counted this election.
Yeah, 25 News reporter Andrew Lamparski is in McLennan County tonight. Andrew, have things picked up at all as we approach 7 o'clock here?
Lauren, Todd, in the past hour, things picked up and then seemed to slow back down again as we approach this last hour of voting here at the Waco Multipurpose Facility in East Waco. I'm going to step out to show you what things look like at the entrance here. You can see not much happening at the moment. We've got a couple people walking out, a couple people walking up to the doors right now. This morning and this afternoon, an elections judge we spoke with says things were even slower than expected, something we've heard a lot of throughout early voting as well. But voters who have come out that we've talked to are passionate.
This is what you want to do. You want to sit there on the couch and talk about, I hope somebody changes something, and you don't vote, then you didn't help the situation at all. But if you vote, even if you vote for the person that didn't win, at least you express your opinion.
And just a reminder, polls here in McLennan County and many other counties around the area close at 7 p.m. tonight. And we're tracking a couple big races here in McLennan County for district attorney as well as the state house. We'll keep an eye on those for you all night long. For now, live in Waco, Andrew Lamparski, 25 News.
And Andrew, speaking of big races tonight, the Texas Attorney General race was projected to be close earlier this month. Taking a look at that now, you have Republican Kim Paxton, of course, the incumbent, running up against newcomer Rochelle Garza. She is a daughter to 2 school teachers and a civil rights attorney. Taking a look back at the 2018 Attorney General race, you see here, it had Ken Paxton winning with 51% of the votes with 4.1 million up against Justin Nelson with 47% of the vote. We're going to be continuing to watch these big races all throughout the evening and have much more for you right here on 25 News. Todd?
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, the polls of Bell County staying open an extra hour tonight until 8. A technical glitch got things off to a pretty late start at some locations earlier today. 25 News reporter Ian Chris joins us from Bell County. He's been tracking this. Hey, Ian.
Hey Todd, so yes, Bell County was able to fix the timing issue voters would have experienced during the check-in process to cast their ballots. Still, one lady I spoke with says although the problem was fixed, she still dealt with an issue. Around 6:30 this morning, election poll books in Bell County that are used to check voters in read the wrong time when county officials tested the equipment. Voting polls were closed to solve the issue. Dr. Desi Roberts, Bell County election administrator, says once they learned of the problem, they had to fix the issue manually, expediting the reboot process. In a statement, the Texas Secretary of State said the Texas Secretary of State's office can confirm that Bell County contacted our office today and indicated they will be seeking a court order to extend voting hours to 8 p.m. Central Time. Only a Texas district court can grant such an extension, not our office, so Bell County is taking the appropriate legal action to do so.
E-poll books does not have anything to do with us individual casting their ballot. Those are not voting machines. Those are the little computers where you give your ID card and they check you in. I want to reassure that the safety and security of our election system in Bell County at this point is safe. We are secure, and we are proactive in maintaining that security and integrity of the vote.
Again, a Bell County judge did extend those polling hours until 8 o'clock here in the county. Stick with us on air and online for our continuing election coverage. Reporting live here in Bell County, Ian Chris, 25 News.
All right, thanks, Ian. Let's take a look at some of those polling places in Bell County.
Yeah, remember, they're all going until 8 at all 42 locations. These are just a few of them. You can vote in Killeen at the Jackson Professional Learning Center, the Senior Center at Lions Club Park. You can also vote at the Temple ISD Administration Building, the Salado Church of Christ, in the Parks and Rec Center in Harker Heights. For a full list of all of those locations, head on over to kxxv.com.
And more than 41 million pre-election ballots have been cast across 47 states. That's according to data from election officials, Edison Research and Catalyst. Pre-election voting has been ahead of the 2018 midterm race in most places, but not in Texas. It's still too early to know if overall turnout will reach those 2018 levels. And a message about women's rights was displayed in Washington, D.C. just ahead of Election Day 2022. It's called Vote for Your Daughter, and it features 51 life-sized statues. The work was placed near the U.S. Supreme Court for a few hours yesterday. Artist Maggie O'Neill calls the statues fearless girls, and she says she hopes the project will make voters think about women's rights.
Perhaps the biggest statewide race tonight, the race for Texas governor. You've got incumbent Greg Abbott going for his third term. He's up against Democratic challenger Beto O'Rourke. Obviously, our tallies right now showing 0 because we won't get those first numbers until after the 7 o'clock hour. Let's take a look back, though, at how things shaped up in 2018, if you will. That is when Greg Abbott had a commanding victory over Lupe Valdez, who was the former Dallas County Sheriff. He won by more than 1 million votes back in 2018. And if we take a closer look at our area here in Central Texas, you can see that at least 4 years ago, this area was predominantly Abbott. In McLennan County, he won by more than 30% of the vote. Down in Bell County, won by 20% of the vote. Over in Coryell County, he won by about 50% of the vote in that area, 40 to 50% there. So this area has been decidedly Greg Abbott territory in 2018. It was in 2014 as well. We'll just have to wait and see what tonight holds, Lauren.
All right, thanks, Todd. An hour away from the polls closing, and tonight Governor Greg Abbott is in McAllen. That's where in-depth reporter Nick Bradshaw is. He's been on the streets, knocking on doors today, and he's joining us live. Nick, what are people telling you with who you spoke to?
All right, Lauren, just actually a few minutes ago, a guy walked up and we were talking. He actually told me he has been Republican since Republican has been cool here in South Texas and McAllen. The area was really primarily blue, Democrat for the most part. However, that is starting to take a shift. Take a look at this video. This was from earlier this afternoon. A yard full of signs when it comes to Republicans. He was once a Democrat, but now it's all red. In fact, his yard decked out with all these signs. He said the biggest reason he is switching, it's abortion.
I'm Catholic. Pro-life has always been part of my culture. And as we started, I guess, as I started growing and understanding more and getting more involved.
And Nick, that is not what everyone you spoke to today had to say. What are others telling you?
You know, what other people are telling me is that they are pro-choice. They want to have that choice. Talked with a couple of Democrats earlier, and in fact, earlier this year, I spoke with one lady who actually had to travel to New Mexico to have an abortion, or she could have possibly died. And so it's an issue that has people divided. What will happen tonight? We'll have to wait and see. We're live in McAllen tonight. Nick Bradshaw, 25 News.
We're tracking all the election results closely here on 25 News tonight, and you can also follow along right at home. Use your phone or any device with the 25 News app. Go to kxxv.com and click Election 2022 at the top of our homepage. We'll have an interactive map there showing all 254 counties in Texas. There you can find some of the biggest races, including Texas governor. Results are all updated in real time after the polls close at 7.
And big races in the Senate will be decided this evening. 35 seats are up for election.
That's right, a lot of moving parts here. It could establish a new balance of power in Congress. We'll explain.
And if you're getting out to the polls this evening, temperatures very nice here across the area. No weather problems, but as we head toward the end of the week, we are going to be seeing our colder air start to filter in. More on that coming up.
It is a showdown for control of Congress. Voters will get the final word on reshaping the political landscape, both in their home states and in Washington, D.C. Isabel Rosales is on Capitol Hill with what's at stake.
Voters making their voices heard by the tens of millions. I'm Isabel Rosales.
All right, pretty nice day out there. Still pretty nice.
Yeah.
Need to get out and vote.
Yep, temperatures in the 70s, and the past few mornings we've had quite a bit of fog across the area, and I think we may do that again as we head into tomorrow as well. So here's our future track fog as we head into Saturday and Sunday. Highs upper 50s and lower 60s, and the below normal temperatures will likely continue into next week, and we may even have a couple nights with lows in the 30s.
All right, thanks. Flu and RSV numbers continue to surge across the country.
Yeah, but still, far fewer people are actually getting shots. We're going to break down why and how you can avoid getting sick. Health leaders officially declaring this flu season an epidemic.
We could have a triple epidemic situation in the future with flu, RSV, and COVID. Jesse Cohen breaks it down.
For the first time in a decade, for this
now it's still a great time to get it.
In Denver, I'm Jesse Cohen reporting.
There is hope for people with higher blood pressure. An experimental treatment is showing promise in some clinical trials. People who took the drug daily had a lower blood pressure compared to those who got the placebo instead.
And more than 40% of Americans Generation Z are struggling mentally. A new survey from Harmony Healthcare IT suggests tens of millions of Gen Z young adults are dealing with a mental health condition. Things like anxiety, depression, and PTSD. 75% said the pandemic contributed to their depression.
As you head out to the polls, be mindful of how this election could impact your mental health. That's right, Mandy Gaither has more.
Differing beliefs, long lines at the polls, concerns over outcome. Minute. I'm Mandy Gaither.
Changes in the oil market, changing prices at the pump yet again.
Coming up, what's happening and what you can expect in the future, and more consumer news. In your consumer news, U.S. gas prices are inching upward. The average price for a gallon of self-serve regular, $3.80, according to AAA. That's a 4-cent hike from last week and roughly 38 cents more than this time last year. One reason for the recent increase in cost comes from the oil market. A barrel of crude is once again more than $90 each. And prepare to see a different kind of lettuce at the store. Hydroponic or teen lettuce is larger and crispier than the baby leaves that we're familiar with. It's grown indoors without soil. Drought and extreme heat left lettuces wilting in the fields this past summer.
Well, since Elon Musk's Twitter takeover, some people are signing off of the social media platform for good. Users have been fleeing Twitter in recent days as the company faces layoffs, some controversial product changes, and some say a spike in hateful rhetoric. Some alternatives out there, like USync, are gaining in popularity.
Here's a look at the stories just ahead in our second half hour tonight.
We still have much more on those big Texas statewide races, including land commissioner, lieutenant governor, and railroad commissioner.
That's coming up. Plus, a movement to guarantee basic income from the government is gaining popularity. That story and more in our next half hour. Here's a quick recap of some of the top stories from the first 30 minutes today. In-depth reporter Nick Bradshaw live from McAllen, where Governor Greg Abbott is watching the results roll in. Border security is, of course, a hot topic and has been the backdrop for his campaign. He kicked it off here, there in McAllen, and tonight the governor hopes to take home a win. And voting hours have been extended in Bell County after an issue with the time change caused a delay at the polls earlier today. We talked to the different locations and about the races for Attorney General and Governor, both contested in the Lone Star State. Now here's Matt with another check of your forecast.
And we are looking in the tropics as we do have Nicole.
All right, Matt. It's still about 25 minutes to get out to the polls tonight. A lot of major statewide races on the ballot, including land commissioner and also railroad commissioner. Let's go ahead and bring some of these up fully if we can. For land commissioner this year, we've got Jay Kleberg. He's going up against Republican Dawn Buckingham. She would be the first woman to ever hold this job. So that is something that has been keen for political observers. Kleberg is counting on a lot of crossover support to keep this close. Then there's also the railroad commissioner position, and this is Democrat Luke Warford up against Republican Wayne Christian. Christian is the incumbent here. A lot of back and forth in this race, a lot of millions of dollars poured into it. Typically, Republicans do dominate the Railroad Commission. That is the group here in the state that kind of regulates our oil and gas laws. Again, no results in there yet because we have not hit that 7 o'clock early voting return mark, but we should start to see those in about 30 to 35 minutes. Now, as we've been saying for months now, it is a very divisive time in American politics. But tonight, Chris Conte is taking a look at one smaller American town where voting is very much a community effort.
It keeps bringing you back.
Parts location, New Hampshire. I'm Chris Conte.
And let's take a look at some of those other big races tonight. Let's start with the lieutenant governor race with Republican Dan Patrick as the incumbent. He is going up against Democrat Mike Collier. And then there is the attorney general race. You've got Ken Paxton with newcomer Rochelle Garza. And the Railroad Commission with incumbent Republican Wayne Christian up against Democrat Luke Warford, what Todd was just talking about, and the land commissioner with two newcomers after George P. Bush left to run for attorney general and lost. You've got Republican Dawn Buckingham and Democrat Jay Kleberg. We'll have those results online and right here on 25 News when they become available coming up in just a few minutes.
One big question on this election day, when will we actually know the results? Joe St. George tonight has a look at the chances you'll know who controls Congress by the time you go to bed.
All right, I got to be honest with you for a second. We political reporters, we live for election nights. The question of who controls the House or the Senate is a conversation we don't just have on television. We talk about it at the bar on Friday nights with our friends. But I am well aware that you probably don't share
That's going to be well after election night when that finally happens.
In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
Russia has largely turned to drone warfare as the war in Ukraine continues.
It's hitting Ukrainians living their lives harder than ever before. We'll have the latest coming up.
Now to the latest on the war in Ukraine, thousands of people suffering as Russian drone strikes intensify. ABC's Rena Roy has more.
The war in Ukraine is becoming Russia, though that's unlikely because his preconditions, including Russia's withdrawal from Ukraine, appear to be non-starters for Moscow. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
All right, a beautiful Election Day Tuesday out there, but our forecast's about to change.
It is. If you like fall, if you want to get some fall clothes on, well, your time's coming as we make our way into the weekend. But right now, Janet, you can go to KXXV.com to register to win yours.
For millions of Americans, knowing where that next paycheck is coming from is a luxury.
In tonight's Two Americas report, we travel to a city where community leaders show the results, yet action has yet to happen.
A lot of the times when we bring up Nashville, that Nashville is going to be left behind.
In Nashville, I'm Matt Pearl.
Still to come on this Election Tuesday, a look at all of the races and what we'll have tonight at 10 o'clock.
Plus another check of your forecast when we come back.
Here's a look at some of the stories we're working on for 10 o'clock tonight. Obviously, it is Election Tuesday. We're going to have as many results as we're able to bring you. Other races, they might take a little bit longer, but you can expect that some statewide races should be finally determined at some point this evening.
And people who waited until Election Day to vote should get a little extra caffeine, and that's because November 8th is National Cappuccino Day. The popular Italian drink is usually made with espresso, hot milk, and steamed milk foam. Cappuccino got its name from the color of the hooded robes worn by Capuchin friars. I love cappuccino.
I do too.
I could take one right now.
Yeah. Long night for you two. We'll be watching. Let's take a look at what we are expecting. Looks like spring hangs around another 2 days. Wednesday, 30s and 40s. So find the jackets. You're going to need it.
All right. Thanks, Matt. We're back on the air tonight at 10, and then we have some cut-ins with election results throughout the evening.
Sure do. We'll see you then, and we'll see you at 10 o'clock.
Bye-bye.